My name is Dale Scott. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I am a member of TMA. I'm also a member of the board of directors of TMA. I was diagnosed with polymyositis about 7 years ago, but it was a journey to get diagnosed. I went through a lot of things going wrong. I fell down, and then I went to the doctors, but they couldn't find any weaknesses. And a month later, I fell down again. They still couldn't find any weaknesses. So they sort of said maybe, it was just something that happened. Along that line, my hands started to break out in what now I know is called mechanic hands. But along with that, my feet broke out. And the doctor said they had never heard of anything like that, hands and feet breaking out like that. So they sent me to a dermatologist because they figured it was an allergy. I couldn't figure out what I could have been allergic to. I was doing nothing different than before. So I went to an allergist who treated me for 6 months and still didn't find anything. At that point, because he couldn't find anything, he sent me to Johns Hopkins to their dermatology clinic, and I was with them for almost 3 months, and they couldn't find any allergies. But along with that time, I started getting pains in my arms, and things just started, all kinds of things were going wrong. And the more I went to the doctors, I knew something was wrong, but they couldn't find what was wrong. At Johns Hopkins, after they tested me for 3 months, they decided it was more important to get my hands and feet treated. And they did that at my home hospital in Hershey. I had to go through 33 what they call PUVA treatments, where I soak my hand in medicines and then put them on ultraviolet lights in order for them to clear up my hands and feet. But then after that, I stayed there with the dermatologist who couldn't figure out what to do. It took them about 6 months to figure out that they noticed a change in my cuticles on my hands. With that, he referred me to a rheumatologist. This rheumatologist had no idea what was wrong, but he spent about 4 or 5 months doing every test imaginable, trying to find it. And finally, through a group session with other doctors, they would use my case and talk about it. He found one more test that he said, and they ran that test and they come up with the diagnosis. So it was very important at that point because at least something was wrong and it wasn't all in my head like everyone kept saying because they couldn't find anything. Once I was diagnosed, I was able to be put on medicines. I also developed ILD, which is the interstitial lung disease, which was one of the symptoms that prompted him to come to my diagnosis. They found the ILD before they diagnosed the myositis, but I was able to be treated for both and consequently put on medication and have done very well on the medication. I was able, they put me on prednisone, high doses, of course, to counteract the effects of the ILD, and I got on Imuron, and both of those helped my symptoms of the myositis. I got off the prednisone, which was really important, because there are a lot of side effects with that are really bad, and I continued going on a really good path with my Imuron. I was on up to 200 milligrams a day, and because I was doing so well, they were able to taper me down to 25 over a course of 2.5 years. And I've been doing really well ever since. It's been a journey because on the outside, I don't look sick. And pretty much I still work full-time and I work a part-time job. So I'm very busy, very active. I have my limitations, and there are a lot of people that don't know what they are. And it's funny because when people look at you, and they see that you might have a handicap sticker, they don't know why. But if you don't show the physical ailments, like when I was on crutches because I couldn't walk, because I had torn my Achilles, and there was something that they could identify with. But being like this, they can't see what's going on inside, or the pains, or what you're dealing with, or the weaknesses, which is a really important thing, because when you're weak or you can't hold things, or you drop things, or you can't grasp, there it's very hard to tell that to someone or to explain it to someone. So there are a lot of things that we need to be aware of with other people, and not making snap decisions on conditions. But also, there's something in our bodies. We know when we're not feeling well. We know when things aren't working the way that they should be working. And we need to be able to communicate that. One of the things that, for myself, that I wish was better was the primary care doctors need to be more aware of when someone's complaining about symptoms, that they have a better understanding of what goes on.